joins us now here in studio. Gillian, welcome. So firstly, your views, your sentiments on that memorial service that took place earlier.
You know, Sakina, it's never easy attending a memorial service where we've lost people that give so much to us. You know, we need them for any emergency, particularly fires, paramedics. And it's at times like this that you really realize the value of one life lost. Many speakers talking about how do we go on without emergency services, how we as communities look on while we rob these people when they come and help us, assist us. And again, a call to, you know, do more, not just to remember the fallen when they've fallen, literally, but to pay tribute to these, you know, tireless givers to society all the time. I mean, it was very emotional to be part of a memorial like this. You know what it was like being at the scene on Thursday. You could feel that everyone had, it was a country in mourning. It is a service in mourning. And a lot have been spoken about the conditions under which they work. I think that is the stories I'd like to explore going forward. Their conditions, we want to hear their voices. We want to know their plight because we know the kinds of conditions and the limited resources which they've been telling us that they have to work with and work under.
Gillian, who attended today's memorial service?
It was a lot. You know, El Dorado Park is a community. When we do report on a community like that, it's a lot about the notorious El Dorado Park drug dealing, prostitution, drug dens. But today they actually took the initiative to actually pay tribute to the three fallen. I mean, none of these guys worked at their particular fire station, but they took that initiative. And we saw a lot of community leaders coming forward, EMS. We saw a lot of councillors, heads from within the MMC fraternity around public safety, you know, just bolstering and coming there to pay their respects. And those are the kinds of sentiments that everyone had when they stepped onto the podium. They spoke about these fatherless families and children that now have to go forward, and where to from here. Absolutely,
and I'll come back to that shortly, but just to get back to the scene of this fire last week. So we understand that there are mop-up operations continuing currently. Can you give us some understanding as to where that operation is at currently?
Over the weekend, they completed mop-up operations, and we saw it was an extensive operation, Sakina. It was, you know, they deployed people from all over, even SANDF, so it told you the extent to which this particular scene had to be dealt with. Today was the first day of investigations. They've cordoned off the entire building, palisaded it, because they don't want, obviously, anyone to go in to tamper with the scene. Also, the roads, there are some roads adjacent to that building that remains cordoned off, and for reasons that, obviously, it's part of the story around piecing together what exactly happened, because now the central focus will be, how did the fire start? Was it intentional? Was it accidental? Could it have been prevented? That kind of thing.
And with regard to workers reporting for duty, we will be speaking to the unions, but do you have any further update on that situation?
I know that while I was attending this memorial, and this was an anonymous communication that I had received, there were, let me call it a handful of emergency services workers, and it's probably those who are in instrumental positions which will be taking the disgruntlement and the concerns of those on the ground forward. They had been meeting with MMCs, the MMC of Public Safety, to kind of thresh out these very concerning issues that we've seen being playing out, but particularly it hasn't been playing out just now, Sakina. As the union said to you on Thursday, it's concerns that have been there all along, and they're basically just pushing that there be real changes so that we don't next week do another story about 3 firefighters or more than 3 firefighters who have lost their lives. They were saying that the media shouldn't report on or kind of play the blaming game, but we want to know who should be held accountable in an instance like this. When you hear things like a building not being compliant, where government officials are reporting for duty in a building that hasn't been compliant, when you hear about firefighters saying, we are hearing reports that there could have been a lack of oxygen in those tanks, they have to buy their own gear. Who should be taking responsibility for that, or shouldn't we be asking those kinds of questions, Sakina?
Well, we absolutely should. Gillian Pillay, thank you so much, our reporter covering this particular story. So on the line to us now,